Hi there, Sitecore enthusiasts, and welcome to another episode of Friday Sitecore Best Practices. My name is Vasily Fomichev, and I'm a Sitecore MVP. In this short video, I'd like to give you a very quick tip on how to expose the fields on Sitecore item pages in Experience Editor when they're not visible on the page. For instance, your page title, your page meta description, your social meta tags, for instance, Facebook, Twitter. I was going to say keywords, but hopefully you're not using that. Google stopped caring about it years ago. And maybe even some of the fields on the other types of fields on the page, a checkbox or drop down, that don't really relate to a component, that are kind of really not settings. Remember, we always want to put our settings into presentation layer rendering or sublayout parameter rendering parameter settings. However, those one-off fields that are not displayed on the page but are still part of content. So here's what I'm talking about here. And I actually learned this years and years and years ago. In fact, in my first Sitecore training class, when I knew nothing about it, and that really made a good impression on me. I thought that was a really cool pattern to use. However, unfortunately, that was the last time I saw it. So I don't really see anyone following this, so that's why I decided to make this video. And here's what I'm talking about. Right now we're looking at a layout. I usually like to put this code at the bottom of the page. This could really go into a separate view or a separate rendering. It's up to you depending on your solution design. However, here for the sake of simplicity, we're doing it right at the bottom of our layout, and we're simply checking for the editing mode. So if we are in the editing mode, then we're displaying the metadata editor. Let's take a look at that. Metadata editor right here. And all we're doing is simply displaying labels and exposing those fields for editing using the glass mapper syntax here. So as you can see, we're exposing page title. We're adding a label for usability, right? So users know what they're editing, since those fields aren't self-explanatory, right? So we're editing the page title, we're exposing that for editing, and meta description. And we could really expand that, add more metadata fields to it, create separate editors for, let's say, Twitter or Facebook metadata, and also separate custom editors for those one-off orphan fields that aren't displayed on the page but are still part of content. That's also a really good place to put them. So like I said, I put that at the bottom of the page, and during the training, I show editors and how to get to it, and what to expect in that section. I usually call that section Tools. I usually put a title here. Sometimes I would even put a short blurb with an explanation of the fields below and how to edit them. Right? Maybe a little bit of help information that might not be present in the Experience Editor. You know, those little tiny things that make the experience, the Sitecore Experience Editor experience. Wow, that's a lot of experience there. But the experience of using the Sitecore inline editing, page editor, experience editor, whatever you want to call it, much better. So what happens if we don't do this, right? What is the cost? We don't really think about things like that, unfortunately, very often. But let's imagine that we're content authors. Let's put our content author hat on, right? On a daily basis, we log into Sitecore to make content edits, and our developers and architects did a great job exposing pretty much all of our content through the Experience Editor, and we love using our Experience Editor. Now, the company recently started caring about search engine optimization, right? All of a sudden, it became very important for us to edit metadata and meta tag fields. Unfortunately, that's not something we can do in the Experience Editor because the developers did not expose that in there this way. So now we have to go into the content editor to do that. Now, here's what's going to happen with this content author. Over time, as she logs into Experience Editor to do most of the things and logging into Content Editor to do that one thing, What that will turn into is eventually the content author only logging into the content editor. Because why would they use the page editor or experience editor if they can't do what they need to do in it? So even if you as a developer or as an architect put in a lot of effort, all those hours into discovery, requirements, into writing support for Experience Editor, for all these complex components, exposing those fields, maybe modifying the way components look sometimes just to make them look good in the Experience Editor, or make them user-friendly for editing in the Experience Editor, using edit frames and so on and so on. All that time has gone to waste just simply because we didn't expose some of the fields that were not shown on the page but that were important to our users. Now I'll make another video on how to go about determining what to expose in the page editor and experience editor. There's a whole process to that. It's pretty simple. Again, there are only a few things to consider, but it's important to do those every time. And this is one of those things, is getting the requirements and making sure you're exposing the fields that are important. And with search engine optimization, for instance, being one of the hot topics, or social network optimization as well being a hot topic, this is becoming more and more important. So hopefully you liked this tip, and if you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and for more tips like this, check out cmsbestpractices.com. And I'll see you next Friday. Over and out.